Let's get right to it. I'm keeping my voice at a low volume because I don't want to wake up other people being in an apartment. Now, I'm sure I can talk louder. It is midnight, but I'm not going to do that right now. So, we're going to talk at this level. So, hopefully, you can hear me. Anyway, let's get right to it. When I was 12 years old, um, my aunt moved into the house where I used to live in an area called Boothwyn, Pennsylvania. Um, if you didn't really hear me, Boothwyn, Pennsylvania. So this was my stepdad's sister, and she moved in for a decent amount of time. Um, Her boyfriend at the time, or friend, whatever you want to call it, had passed away, and they had an apartment together. So she lost the apartment. She couldn't afford it. She was on like Social Security or something like that. So she moved in with us. She had a bunch of health issues as well. Good woman, but had a bunch of issues health wise. Didn't have a whole ton of money, and it was my stepdad's sister. So she moved in with us. Um, she had a bunch of animals. She was always like really into like having different pets. Um, Sorry if my heater is too loud. It shouldn't be, but I'm gonna carry on. Can't really turn it off right now. So she moved in with us. She had her issues with like hoarding. She was kind of a hoarder. Um, she was obsessed with animals, so she had like all kinds of pets. I think by the time that she moved in to our house, she only had guinea pigs. She had a couple of them, but she used to have like birds, cats, and like any pet you can think of. Like she had she had a lot of pets. Um, but we had this back room that was next to my room in the basement when I was about 12 years old. And it worked out perfect. It was like a storage room, and that would be the room that she would move into. Um, so, not long after her moving in, she would walk anywhere and everywhere. She didn't have a car, so she would just walk everywhere. And she did a lot of things that embarrassed my stepdad. For one, there was a farmer's market that was close by, and they had shopping carts there. And what she would do is she'd go there and she'd shop, and she'd load everything in the shopping cart. And instead of returning it or putting everything in her car from the shopping cart, she would just take the shopping cart all the way home, like to our house. Um, and sometimes he would be driving and he would pass her on the road, and he'd be like, her name's Janice. He'd be like, Janice, get in the car. What are you doing? And I witnessed a lot of that. And you would just find her at like different areas. She'd be at like an area that you would think that there's no way that she could get to, and somehow she would be there. She would just travel all over the place. But besides that, I'm trying to give you like kind of a rundown of the type of woman she was. And I say that because she's no longer with us anymore. She's passed on like several years ago. Um, but she was always she was always doing something, and she kind of had like a kid mentality. And I don't mean like having like a young soul, like she just did things from like a very little kid standpoint. I think she, not that there's anything wrong with it, but she definitely had like something going on. You know what I mean? She was a little slow, um, but besides the point, she was a good woman. She was awesome to be around. She was funny. She had her problems, you know. Um, but going back to the whole animal thing, so you kind of get a, you know, kind of get to know her a little bit by me telling you what some of the things that she would do. But one night, keep in mind, obsessed with animals. One night, one of her guinea pigs die. And there's something that I left out here. I would help her with anything that she needed help with, physically, uh, just whatever, you know. If she needed help carrying things, help walking, just I'd help her in any way that I could, even being 12 years old. So one night, one of her guinea pigs die. What is up? One night, one of her guinea pigs die, and it's a school night for me. This happens 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and I hear her like crying in the other room. She's very upset, very distraught. She has a huge attachment to any of her pets, and I hear her upset, and her room is right next to my room. So I wake up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, sure enough, I like knock on the door. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, my guinea pig died, and she's all upset. And it's wintertime too, by the way. I want to say this. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm sorry that happened. Like, what do you want to do? Like, what can we do? And she's like, can we bury him? That'll give me closure. He was my best friend. And I get it. Like, I have cats. I love my cats. I treat them like family. So her guinea pigs were like her family. So it's about 1 a.m. and I feel bad for her, of course, very upset. So I'm like, okay, um, let's go bury your guinea pig. So we go outside. I go into the garage. I get a shovel. The ground's like frozen solid. I'm trying to find an area in the yard to bury a guinea pig at 1:30 in the morning. And it's a school night for me. You know what I mean? I'm like 12, 13 years old. So kind of looking around, trying to find an area that I think is appropriate. I finally find an area that I think is good. And she slips on a patch of ice. She comes out with me and she slips and hits her head. Now, she's not like concussed or bleeding or anything, but it's like kind of one of those scenarios where it's one thing after another. Like, we're trying to bury this guinea pig. I got a shovel. The ground's frozen. I'm trying to dig a hole at like 1:30 in the morning. And then to top it off, she slips on a patch of ice and just goes down, you know, smacks her head and everything. Me being the person that I am, copying Tyler, the Creator. Why? Because I have this. Anyway, so she slips, bangs her head, and of course I'm like, ah, shit. Now do we have to go to the hospital? Like, how bad is it? So, luckily she's okay, but you know, now I'm like, all right, kind of worried about her, and then the guinea pig situation, she's still upset about that. And so, yeah, I'm digging a hole, and I don't even know how long it frickin' took me, but the point the point in why I'm telling this story is because you can have like one thing after another happen, right? And in a scenario like this, where at this age I can barely help myself and do things, but I was so selfless to do what I could to accommodate her and fix whatever problem that she was dealing with. And even at that rate, with her slipping and falling, I was ready to take a car that clearly I wasn't old enough to drive, didn't have a license or anything, being 12 and ready to like take her to the hospital. So I don't know. You could mark that up as a big thing. But besides the point, sometimes doing the smallest things can really help somebody. Did I think ultimately that burying a guinea pig at 2 in the morning with frozen solid ground would really, I don't know, fix the situation? But I was willing to do that because it was to make her happy or satisfy her. Um, so yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, did I feel like getting up out of bed and doing that? Now I did feel bad for her, but I'll be honest. 12 years old, I got to go to school in the morning. It's one thing to be like, "Are you okay?" Like, can I do so? Can I talk to you? Or like, is there something I can do? You know, I wasn't expecting her to be like, let's bury this thing. And also, it could have been much worse. She could have cracked her head open. But I was willing to try and do whatever I could to help her. Um, Eventually, I was able to dig this hole and bury her guinea pig. And that's what gave her closure. That's what really helped her. Um, and I'm glad I was there for her because if I didn't live there, let's just say that the circumstances were different. Uh, Maybe I was upstairs and wasn't living in the basement at that time, and her room wasn't next to mine. The whole house was asleep. I don't think that she would have gone to that length to bother anybody, but she knew what kind of person I am and was, so she knew that I would help her. She knew that we'll get to the questions after this, but she knew that I would do that because the kind of person I am, for one, but um, I don't know. I just have a big heart for, for people and a big heart for my family and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it ends with a good story because obviously she wasn't, like I said, she wasn't hurt, but also we took care of the situation, you know, and I did whatever it took to give her closure on it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it to the story. But doing little things sometimes really goes a long way. You know, I guess you could again chalk it up as kind of a crazy thing to do for a 12-year-old. Kind of putting that on a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? Someone being like, "Oh yeah, can you bury my dead guinea pig?" But I was willing and I did it, and it made her happy. So she was awesome. She was really like a good person as well. Like I said, she had her problems, but great human being. She had a lot of like physical health problems, and she would end up passing away. Like I said, about like 7 or 8 years ago. She was diabetic. She had a lot of other issues as well. I don't know what those other issues were, but I'm glad that even if it was doing something that I thought was absolutely ludicrous, like burying her pet in the middle of the night, or I don't know, having to walk with her, push a shopping cart, and just walk with her, because I'll be honest, even at a young age, there was times where I felt embarrassed. I mean, that's just the human being in me. You go through a phase where you're like, hopefully none of my friends see me and question what I'm doing or think I'm crazy for it. But I was willing to do these things at a young age. And, you know, regardless of some of the stuff that she would do, I'm thankful that I was a part of her life. And, yeah, RIP. Yo, man, can you please make my day? But yeah, that's just a story I wanted to talk about. Just something that, you know, I wanted to get into. I felt that it was necessary to talk about, you know. Doing a little can be a lot for somebody, or sometimes doing a lot can be a lot for somebody. I don't know. This chair keeps pushing me back. See, I keep drifting. All right, let's see. Good man. Thank you. Hello. I'm new. Would you rather fight a gorilla-sized toddler or 10 toddler-sized gorillas? Let's see, a gorilla-sized toddler or 10 toddler-sized gorillas. I would say 10 toddler-sized gorillas. I would say one gorilla-sized toddler. How would you like me to make your day? What could I do to make your day? I don't know what you were saying sorry for. Maybe you're saying sorry to what happened. Yeah, she was a good, she was a good woman. Like I said, she had her problems. She would do some weird stuff, but you know, she had good character. Very nice woman. Sometimes you really can't blame people for the way that they are, you know. I don't know how I would word this the right way, but I feel like the only correct way that I can say this is that she was clinically slow. Like she had some sort of deformity, but I don't want to say, I don't like using those terms, but it was apparent that she had some sort of mild slowness. And this is something that I knew at a very young age because she was around since the time I was 6, 7 years old. So I knew her for quite a while. She ended up passing away, like I said, about 7 years ago. So I knew her for a really long time. But I'll say something as well to let you know just how good of a person that she was. Legitimate, she would give the shirt off her back. Like she would do anything to make somebody else happy. When I was a kid, her and her boyfriend would take me, my sister, my stepbrother, and my stepsister. They would take us to the dollar store and they would give us $100 and we could buy 100 things for $1. That's the type of shit that they would do. Nice hat. What do you do? What do you do? Wear it? I'm trying to understand your question. Nice hat. What do you do? Wear it. Okay. Thank you. I think it is a nice hat. What else? What do I do? Well, I make content. I'm a videographer and filmmaker and actor. aspiring. Um, I mean, I do work on films. Talking about the acting part, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm sorry. Honestly, I would talk louder right now. It's not even because of the neighbor. It has nothing to do with that. I don't give a shit about that. And the reason why I say that is because my neighbor is so loud. Um, but regardless of that, um, I'm not going to wake the girlfriend up downstairs. So, and this room is right above our bedroom. I'm in the office, but the office is directly above the bedroom. And so I'm just not going to do that. She'll kill me. And I don't want no smoke right now, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. Um, I definitely have more stories, but I just wanted to hop on here and talk about that. That's what came to mind tonight. Yeah, not worth it. I'm serious. She would come in here and probably beat my ass. I don't want to smoke. Clean my clock. I don't know. Any of you guys got one of these? I've had this thing now since launch. I made a whole video on it on the channel if you guys want to check it out. If you haven't seen it, I don't know who's new here, but if you watch my actual videos, I made a video about it. It's pretty good. It's definitely better than the first one. Besides the obvious size difference. I mean, I don't have a Switch to compare it with right now because I got rid of the first one. This chair is really kind of ticking me off. It keeps pushing me back. Sorry, I'm kind of leaving again. I'm just gonna push this forward. I don't know what's going on. I need like one of those mats to lie on the floor. Look at this. I literally got a camera propping up the phone. That's what I'm using. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is much better. I know it's a kickstand. It's like, how great, you know, a kickstand, but it's actually pretty sturdy. Like it actually feels premium. Doesn't feel like a piece of crap. Yeah. Game online, the online gaming stuff works better. I will say that. All right, let me switch this back. Yeah, so there's a couple things that work better. My only complaint is the lack of AAA games. You know, this thing's been out since June, and not a whole lot has happened with it. They've done some updates, but dude, I hate these freaking lights. They've done some updates, but there's not really been any like really good AAA games. Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I could. This is fine. This works fine. Um, yeah, but if you guys have never checked out my channel, like these are the lives, watch the videos because I'm a storyteller. It's kind of low. Yeah, I know, I'm speaking low. Um, Watch the videos though, because I indulge in different things, of course, but I made a whole video about this, and not just like me trying it out or giving my opinion about it. Um, it's a whole story that ties in with me getting the Switch, like all the things that went into getting it. Um, but the video is not just about getting the Switch. The video covers a couple different topics throughout it. So I don't know. I think it's a good video. Um, I got a good amount of them on there. Check them out. Yeah. All right. If anybody wants to ask me anything, I'm going to stay on for maybe a couple more minutes. I know this one person's probably trolling, but I want to know, what did you mean by, why are you copying Tyler, the Creator? Do you think he's the only one that wears these hats? Big mistake. Drinking Pepsi right now, and I don't really like soda, but I wanted something other than water, so that's why I'm drinking it. But it's kind of awful. Yeah, not hydrating either. All right, guys. I can't really talk that loud. I don't really want to right now. I appreciate anybody that hopped on the line. I appreciate you guys, you know. And if you listen to the, yeah, for sure, just complete shit for your teeth. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. If you were here the entire time, appreciate that. It is pretty late though, and again, I don't want to be too loud, so I'm gonna get off here. Yeah, I gotta go to bed too. All right, guys, I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.